Anyways.
Kicking impossible.
Yeah, that's all I got, David. What you doing?
All right. I got a bunch of stuff I did this week, like a bunch of stuff.
All right, bring it up.
So first thing I want to talk about was kind of earlier in the week. Me and Alyssa went and saw Pete's Dragon, and then we also saw Sausage Party, which we'll do that later together because you saw that one. But I'll talk about Pete's Dragon, and speaking of spitting out Disney stuff, great movie.
Yeah, Sarah and her mom went with you, right?
Yeah, so
I was in California.
We got advanced screening tickets because I'm
Here we go, guys.
Yeah.
You know, we're hitting the big leagues.
Yeah, exactly.
They want to hear SDS review.
Yeah, what was actually pretty cool, I was on a list. You know when you're told you're going to be on a list on something, and then you go, and like you're like, I'm not going to be on this list. I'm going to be that guy who's like, but I was told I'm on the list. And they're like,
no, page 2. Look on page 2, and near the bottom.
No, what's funny is she had to go to like page 3 to get to me, and I was like, oh god. Each page turn, I was like, oh, this is going to be embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, no, but we got into the movie. By the way, if you ever go to an advanced screening of anything,
I was going to say, how's the process? I think Sarah said she lost her phone or something.
No. So they take your phone. Like, it's not a joke. Like, because you're seeing the movie before anybody else, and they, I asked somebody who I guess goes all the time. I was like, why do they take your phones? Like, you're going to record it on your... He's like, oh yeah, you could sell that to somebody for like couple grand.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'm like, really? Like, I just don't deal in the bootleg world. I would think from a crappy iPhone, like, but I guess that's what people want. But, so yeah, they take your phone. Like, it's no joke. And if they see you on your phone in the theater, you're out. Like, even if you're just like answering a text or you forget to give it to them.
That makes sense, yeah.
No, but it makes total sense. Or if like you have...
I wish they do that normally.
Yeah, it would actually be nice. And it's interesting because of there's no cell phones, like, it actually makes for a better movie
Everybody's
experience.
watching the movie.
Everybody's watching the movie. Nobody pulls out their phone. It's really cool. Pete's Dragon. Let's go back to that. So, if you ever go to an advanced screening...
Is it about a dragon named Pete?
That's about the only thing that... Did you see the original from the 70s?
Yes, I've seen it. I don't remember. I remember it being a musical, very colorful.
Yeah. I saw it recently. It's a long movie. It's like 2 hours long.
Oh, wow.
Which is like long.
For Disney animation.
Well, especially for like a musical. Like, that's a lot of music in a movie. It's nothing like the original.
Right. So
like,
that, yeah.
And you can watch our full review. Me and Alyssa did it, but it's a great movie. Like, a lot of people say that, oh, it's not really Pete's Dragon. It's a story about Pete finding, because he's a boy lost in the woods for a period of time. Family comes and finds him. And then it's kind of the interaction between him and this new family and things like that. And the dragon, Elliot the Dragon, is part of the movie, but by and large, it really has to do with that family aspect of between Pete and this new family. But man, Disney Films is now doing the Pixar thing where they, like, within the first 5 minutes, like, we're gonna make you love somebody and then axe them off. Like,
oh wow.
I was like, geez, man, like,
I heard it's very heartfelt.
It's very heartfelt, and at the end of it, there were people crying in the theater. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I cried. Of course, I cried, and it was in 3D, which just sucks because like when you cry in 3D, you can't even see the thing because you're like, why? You gotta like, anyway. So, but fantastic performances. The kid who plays Pete is fantastic. So like, whoever Disney's getting their casting from for their child actors, because you saw Jungle Book and said that child actor.
Thing, that kid was awesome.
So it's like, it makes me mad when I see good child acting because I'm like, why didn't episode 1 have this crap? Like, I mean, but anyways, great special effects. They make the Elliot the Dragon like a dog. Like, he even chases his tail and like picks up a stick and like can't get it through the trees, like a big giant log. Like,
is he invisible and stuff? Like
he turns invisible and he has those powers and things like that. But it looks great. Like, it's so good. And even in 3D, which I'm not a huge fan of, they don't overdo it. They don't like, 3D. Woo! Yeah. They don't do that. They just kind of the depth thing. They make the bad guy, just like any classic Disney movie, like a real asshole.
Is that Carl Urban?
Yeah, just right off the bat. Like, you've seen it in the trailers, like, let's go hunting. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, it's just like this,
but it would be the same way now.
I know. It's
freaking Dragon, David.
I know.
You gotta take care of it.
But it is weird too, because there's like, I like it takes part in kind of the Pacific Northwest, so the shots that they get of like the forest look fantastic. Like, wherever they actually shot it looks amazing. Robert Redford's not really in it that much, but he does a great job. Like, we need Robert Redford in every movie. Like, he was in Captain America and he nailed it. He was in this, and even when he gets smaller roles, he's fantastic. Bryce Dallas Howard is great in it. Not Jessica Chastain. But it's just a good family movie, and it doesn't beat you over the head with like, we're a family movie, and it's also not it's not like It's weird. It's kind of like the classic thing that you would think of. Like the thing that made me cry was like in every stupid family movie. But I just think they did a good job building the characters so that at the end I cared.
Yeah, there's a payoff at the end.
Right. So it was earned, I guess is pretty much it. So I would recommend go see Pete's Dragon, especially
Comes
if you
out
have
this Friday.
Yeah, I think it came out last Friday.
The 12th, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
great
sorry.
movie. If you have a family, go see it with them. It's a good Disney movie, but then make them go watch the 19. You know what? Make them watch this 1977 film because honestly, the old one looks pretty good. But I thought they were going to keep like the name of the town, at least keep the name of the town.
Yeah.
Quasimopati or whatever the heck it's called, which is a whole song about the name of the town. That's not the name of this town. Like the only thing that's the same is the kid's name's Pete and he has a dragon named Elliot. That's it. Like, okay. Next thing I did for the week, I watched a bunch of movies this week, but
nice.
one that I watched was on Netflix. This is Donald Trump, The Art of the Deal, the movie.
This was the book that he said he wrote, but he didn't write.
Well, he had a ghostwriter, but yes, he and this ghostwriter worked together. But this is a completely comedic like movie. It's It's not like a documentary. It's made by Funny or Die. You know, Will Ferrell's. I don't even know if it's Will Ferrell, but they've done a bunch of stuff with Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And they usually have like shorts that they do. But it is a movie about Donald Trump talking about how he wrote The Art of the Deal, but then he like breaks the fourth wall. And what's crazy, it's Johnny Depp plays Donald Trump, which he does actually a really good job. But
that's one thing I do like about Funny or Die. They get a lot of celebrities and stuff.
Oh, there's a bunch of celebrities.
It's like
in
celebrity YouTube. It's great.
It's kind of it starts off with Ron Howard, and he's like, "Hey guys," he's like, Donald Trump made this movie back in the 80s, and like they destroyed all of them. But I found a VHS copy at this yard sale. Let's watch it together. So it's like right off the bat, like very like tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
They put it in. The whole movie looks like it has an 80s filter on it, like the VHS tracking and like the bad coloring. Nice. Looks great. And then it basically goes through it and just completely destroys like Donald Trump, like makes him look silly. And
who's playing? Oh, you said Depp was, right?
Depp is playing Donald Trump, and it goes through like some of the stuff he went through, like actually like his court case against when he had the UFL, when he had the New Jersey, I forget what they were called. He had a football team, United Football League, and they sued the NFL. Mm-hmm. And then it goes through like his issues that he had with renting to or not renting to minorities, and goes through a whole thing of that. But he does this thing where he'll like talk to the camera about like, here's the art of the deal. This is what you do. And it's just like it's very funny. It's interesting to watch because does have, because I started looking up, I was like, did this really like happen? And I was like, yeah. But Johnny Depp is just great. Like and you would not know it's Johnny Depp. Like usually, Johnny Depp has
Johnny
that
Depp
thing.
normally has a bunch of makeup and hair and stuff.
No, but he's always kind of the same. It's Johnny Depp. This one, he's Donald Trump.
I gotta check that out tonight.
So yeah, it's pretty interesting. How
long is it?
It's like an hour and 15 minutes. It's not very long, and it's funny because there's like, I won't ruin the end of it, but the end of it has to do with what's going on now politically, and it's very funny. Okay, what else did I do? I wanted to talk about an iOS game that I played this week, which is called Catch, but it's spelled weird. It's Cattch. Catch. Again, I've been playing Dots and Company like crazy. Like I get a thing that updates me when my energy is filled, so I can keep playing, and I just immediately start playing. I don't know why I love that game so much. Anyways, Catch is this puzzle platformer type game. It has this cute character. It's a cat. Catch, right?
Nice.
And it's one of those games that starts off like really like kind of almost boring because it's just like, oh, jump on this thing and you jump over this.
But then the game.
Right, but then it slowly gives you like, okay, you can hold onto the wall and you can wall jump, and then you can then like the world will turn. So like you'll be going left to right, and then you'll hit this thing, and then the world will go vertical. So now you're going up and down, and where you were normally going left and right. So it's like it's clever. It's simple. It was only like $2, I think, on the iOS store. So far, it has like a main world, like World 1, like Mario.
Yeah,
World 1 to Overworld, yeah, that's what it's called. And then there's like 17 levels within each Overworld, and there's like 9 worlds. It's just like, geez, like this guy made this giant game, guy or girl made this giant game, and it's like $2. And like, we talk about that feeling of like $2. Like, a little rich for my blood.
Yeah.
But it's a good puzzle platformer game if you like that style of game. I'm traditionally not a big fan of those. Like we talk about, I'm over Mario.
I can't stand platformer games. Like I thought I liked them as a kid, but now when I go back, like I played like Rayman Legends a while back. I'm like, God, I suck at these games.
Well, because it's so precise.
Remember
like
Disney Infinity way back in the day? Speaking of stuff a long time ago.
But it's colorful. The soundtrack's interesting. I would say that the game is good enough to hold your attention. You know, there's a lot of iOS games that are like, you download it, you play it once, you're like, that was fun. Okay, we're done.
Yeah, over it, yeah.
Yeah, this actually is pretty good. I don't think there's anything that you'll remember, but it's good enough as a cohesive game to download and play. I would recommend people play it, especially, like I said, if you need something that just kind of is mindless and fun and colorful. Yeah. Okay, let me talk also, because, of course, other than iOS games, I've been playing board games.
What? Surprise.
The board game I've been playing this week, we should do like David's board game of the week. We'll start that.
What you do?
This giant
thing you talk about.
I know. This giant box here. This is called Arcadia Quest. This is from Cool Mini or Not, which they make some of my favorite games. Recent favorite games, including Blood Rage, which is up on the wall. This is a adventure game where players are working in a guild. This is okay. Let me back up. This game is essentially has mechanics of what's that game that you love? Diablo. Dungeon crawling.
You're stupid. That's not a stupid game.
I don't really like Diablo.
Whatever, bro.
It has parts of Diablo in it because you're working through a dungeon. Every character that you kill like just explodes with gold.
Nice.
Which is fun. And you're getting new equipment, you're getting new armor, you're getting new spells, and you have 3 different characters that you start out with at the beginning of the game. And each of them have their own special ability. So one might be kind of stealthy and can move around quickly or can't be hit by enemies when it runs past it. Or maybe another character has a magic ability, so if it uses any magic, it does additional damage. Standard, traditional tropes of what special abilities characters can do. You're given some starter equipment, rusty sword, a slingshot, this crappy stuff. Yeah. And then throughout the game, you get like this, giant sword, like, Cloud Sword from Final Fantasy, where you're just destroying enemies. The miniatures look fantastic in this game. They have this like chibi artwork, kind of like stylized artwork. Mm-hmm. The monsters look awesome. They have some really nice, cool miniatures. I'll put them in the YouTube video. But the other mechanic of this game is did you play the more recent Wii version of Super Mario Brothers?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, think of any game that's cooperative where you can kind of like screw over the partner, but it's not like this.
You're playing together, but you can jump on their head,
right?
And slow them down. Yeah.
This has the same thing because there's a PvE, meaning player versus environment. So like, there's certain quests that will be the outlying quest of this campaign because it's a campaign. So you play over the course of 6 different levels. You start out in the outer ring of Arcadia, that's the name of the city, move into the inner, and then the last part is the final boss. So in order for you to end the game, you have to hit whenever one player meets a certain amount of quests, that triggers the end of the game. Well, most of the quests will be like kill a certain amount of enemies or kill this main enemy who's really strong, or there's also player versus player quests. So if I kill one of your characters, I'll meet that quest. Okay. And each time basically you kill something, whether it's another player or a character, you get a benefit out of it. Or if a monster kills another player, you get a benefit. So you almost want to kind of work together and then at the last second just smack the person, and
so you can claim the riches for yourself.
Yeah. So it's got this cool cooperative, competitive component, but because of how the artwork looks and because of how death is not really like you just respawn. Just like in Diablo, right? You just respawn at the end of the map or whatever, and you come back in and you're having fun. There is some negative once you upgrade your character, but not like devastating. So it's not a terrible thing to die. But I love this game. It's so much fun. Like, first of all, I love dungeon crawl games. Think of like Imperial Assault is my favorite game of all time. Mm-hmm. This has the same kind of mechanic, a lot of variability. I love the idea of after the game, after you've played one, mission or whatever you want to call it, that affects all of the missions thereafter with the upgrades that you choose, the weapons that you choose. I just like I like the idea of a board game having an arc, like
it's an RPG.
Right, which is so cool. And the system for keeping track of stuff is very straightforward, whereas like sometimes Imperial Assault is like spreadsheets, it feels like. This game doesn't have spreadsheets. It's made by Eric Lang, or one of the designers is Eric Lang, who has been knocking it out of the park on all of his games that he's been coming out with. It's 2 to 4 players. Me and Alyssa are playing right now, which is pretty quick because it's back and forth. I would think with 4 players, it would be more chaos, but that would actually add to the fun of the game.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get people together for 6. They probably take anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half each mission, which is a good meaty size because you get good decisions, you get good like moving, like trying to flank people, line of sight's real straightforward. In some of the games that we play, it's like, okay, you have to line up the line of sight, then count how many spaces, okay, then you have to roll a certain amount of... In this game, it's like, if you have line of sight and you have a ranged weapon, you can shoot all the way across the map. Like, doesn't matter. As long as line of sight is okay, you roll some dice, they roll some dice, add them up.
See what happens.
That's it. So it's very straightforward. When we pulled out all the pieces and we started going over the rules, Alyssa was like, this is way more straightforward than I thought it was going to be.
It looks a little daunting at first.
Right, because you break out all these, like, there's 37 highly detailed plastic miniatures, which is on the box.
Yeah.
And they
300 plus tokens.
Right, so it's one of those things where, like, you break this out and people are like, what are you doing to me? And then you read the rules and you're like, oh, when you want to attack range, you need to be next to somebody. That makes sense. Okay, when you want to do a range attack, you roll dice, you want the little swords on it, not the little bow and arrow. That makes sense. Okay, you roll these dice to block. If it has a shield on it, that means you block some of the attacks. Like, it's
easy
so...
once you get down
it's
to it.
super, super straightforward. Again, I can't recommend games like this enough because of if you have either the gaming group or even like a spouse like I do, that really you get this cool mechanic of, because there was times where me and Alyssa are like, no, we got to work together. Like, don't hit me. I won't hit you. Let's go kill this big boss. We'll share in this giant loot. Because like if you kill the big boss, like you both get a lot. Normally, if you kill like a little minion, whoever does the killing blow gets the benefit. So it's just like. This always reminds me of back in the day, the couch co-op when you're playing with your friend playing Ninja Turtles and one person would take the pizza and you're like, you son of a, like, I need health. Why are you have almost full health. Like that happens in this game. Let's just like, I knocked him all the way down to 1 health and you're going to go over there and like blow on him and freaking get all the money. Like I hate you.
All the work that she did. Yeah.
Right. So, but like the bigger bosses, it's kind of a collective effort. If you hit it, you get some of that. If she hits it, she gets it too. So, there's moments where we're like working together and then she'll hit me and I'm like, stop it. Like, what are you doing? So it's a lot of fun. So I can't recommend that enough. That's Arcadia Quest from Cool Mini or Not. It's about somewhere between, I'd say, $50 to $60, maybe a little bit more depending on where you buy it. And there's like a bajillion additional characters and expansions and missions. But the base game has a lot in it. There's like I said, you pick 6 missions. Other than I think the last mission, which is there's only one to choose from as the big boss. The inner and the outer circles that you go through, there's multiple ones to choose from. So you could play this probably 3 times, and you would only have some overlapping missions. So check that out. Arcadia Quest. Definitely do that. Okay, let's see. Last thing. Like I said, I did so much this week. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about this. I recently reread the 12 comic book or graphic novel series of Watchmen. And then I just rewatched the motion picture by your boy, Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
When's the last time you saw this?
It's been a few years.
Did you see it just in the theaters or because it came out in 2009?
No, I think I saw it after the fact, but it's definitely been a while.
What'd you think?
All I remember is the blue donger. No, it really.
Okay, yeah. And there's okay, yeah. It is a little weird. But if you read the comic books, like they should have done something with that because it's just, and honestly, I don't really care. Like, actually, you're keeping it true to the material. Like, the dude is butt naked. Like, that's fine. Other than
they definitely do it a lot more in the movie than they do in the comics, so I've heard.
Yeah, but they do there's interesting parts in the movie where he'll walk up, you see it, and then then the camera will pan to like over the shoulder or like 3/4 up so you don't see it. Which is, at the end of the day, like, whatever. But it's just one of those things where it's like, we don't see male genitalia in movies. Like,
it's jarring.
Right, so everyone's just like,
looking at it.
That's all I see. Like, and and it's almost, it's kind of, I don't know what he was going for there other than maybe just pure authenticity.
Tell your friends, this is the movie with the blue donger in it.
Right, but it's just like you kind of everyone's just kind of focus on that, like, because it's jarring, right? But what did you think about the movie, the characters, the plot? Because it is obviously a very celebrated, graphic novel series. It's considered in some people's eyes one of the best, if not the best, graphic novel.
Alan Moore, right?
Alan Moore, yeah, he's one of the. There was another guy, I can't remember his name, but Alan Moore is the genius. We talked about Killing Joke. This is interesting.
Yeah. So I've never read the graphic novel. Still to this day. Before or after, obviously, I wasn't a big comic book person growing up.
You should. You really should. Even if you know the story, it's just the artwork alone is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I remember the movie being like, wow, this looks really cool.
Right.
Like very like the scenes that we've talked about this before with Zack Snyder and the scenes he composes, 300 the same way. So it's like, wow, that looks really cool.
Right.
The movie itself, the plot is kind of, it's all right.
I figured you'd like it. It's got the whole U.S., the Russian, Soviets.
No, it's cool. It's very polarizing. Like the ending is just like, I guess I didn't see that coming.
Spoiler alert: we might talk about the ending of we'll talk about the ending of this movie. So if you haven't seen Watchmen or read the graphic novel, you should first of all go do that. And
it's cool. I liked it more for the visuals than for the actual movie itself. It's fine,
right? And I think the part of the story, because I read the graphic novel, I know what was going to happen. There's parts of I didn't read the graphic novel before I watched the movie, which is kind of like what we talked about with how people watch Star Wars, right? Did you watch the prequels before you saw the original trilogy, or vice versa? And so for me, it's hard for me to give any kind of opinion as to, it's like I know people who have read the graphic novel who say, wow, like that particular scene was not what I saw in the graphic novel, and then vice versa, like, oh, that was way more, had more punch to it, had more gravitas to the scene because it was in the movie the way it was. But there are parts of the graphic novel that are interesting, like the way that one of the particular issues is a complete mirror of each other. So like every panel is the same, same styling panel, and then it meets.
I've never seen a YouTube video about this, like not so long ago.
Yeah, and then it meets right in the middle where it shares like a single so there's parts of it that a comic book's going to be the only way that does that. But the movie itself, I really enjoy. Which is weird because I get what you're saying. Like, there's moments where I'm like, wow, that's gorgeous, but it hurts pacing because it's like stop and smell the roses while we're doing this giant action
slow
sequence.
motion. I'm like, oh my god, we get it.
Right? No. Right. But I love the story. The story's so interesting. I think
it's definitely different. It's unique.
Yeah, and I like that it's based in kind of the real world, quote unquote, the Doomsday Clock, the idea of the Cold War. I like all of that stuff. It's a really interesting, but I think an interesting story. But I think the problem with this watching it now, if you haven't seen it or read the graphic novel, is that we've had when that came out, it was based in real, you know what I mean? Like there's a rape scene in it, quote unquote rape scene.
Yeah.
There is a lot of violence. There is, things about, illegitimate children. There's things about Cold War and devastating killing everyone in the world, killings of billions of people. Those things aren't traditionally the bad guy wants to do that in comic books, but by and large they never get to that point.
Yep.
So in this, it kind of
there's definitely that payoff.
right. So I watched the Ultimate Cut, which actually there's a comic book that why you didn't like?
No, because the Ultimate Cut is just it has the substance of the original, but a lot of gratuitous stuff. It's that's unnecessary.
Oh, and that's a big problem. Yeah, there's some
stuff.
super gratuitous violence in it, and
this is not needed. It's stabbing that guy in the face.
Oh, and what's interesting, he doesn't do that in the comic book.
Yeah, see, it's just added just for
And I don't know. I mean, I guess you know what it is. I think it has more to. It's a reflection of the audience. We wouldn't be if you burn down somebody in a house. You burn down the house. We'd be like, not so bad. You cleaver someone's head off. We're like, Jesus, That's the shock value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's more you see the burning house from outside, it's no idea. If you see someone on fire inside,
even then,
much.
Maybe then, but I think of the one scene where he kept it in that was brutal. It was the part when Rorschach ends up in prison and he takes that boiling hot oil that's served at the prison kitchen, and throws it on the guy, and they show it. And I don't remember the theatrical release. What was different? What wasn't with the Ultimate Cut? But man, there is just some awesome scenes, dialogue, because some of it's ripped directly from the graphic novel. Which, with us talking about The Killing Joke, I said sometimes that's off-putting. In this, it is at times because it's no one talks like that. No one talks like that. But because of Rorschach's character being so heavy in prose throughout the entire thing, Rorschach's diary. The way that all
it works.
It works for just that character because he just seems so unhinged that he would
insane
speak in prose when he's talking about to the doctor about what's right and what's wrong and what broke him and what didn't break him. And the movie's good though, man. Zack Snyder, I really enjoy that movie. I don't know why I like it so much. It's long. I watched it in 2 sittings, which again I think there is something to be said about like watching a 3-hour movie in 2 sittings. Like watching a 3-hour movie.
See, I don't like watching movies in multiple sittings. I just want to get through it.
But it's more enjoyable because you can digest instead of like only remembering the last hour. Like when something's 3 hours long, you remember beats. You don't remember like the small pieces. I think like watching Lord of the Rings. Like I watched all that. We'll do a Lord of the Ring episode. Don't worry, everybody who's clamoring, which is no one.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is.
No, but I watched all of those like over the course of like a week, just watching a little bit here, a little bit there.
Miserable.
No, but it's you get to stop and enjoy the scene for what it is, and reflect on only the first 45 minutes or first hour of a movie.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Whereas, and I don't. Because I want them to make 3-hour movies, honestly, and I want to go to the theater and watch it, but I want an intermission. Why can't we do that? We talked about this. Intermissions. Hashtag bring intermission back. That's probably too long of a hashtag.
Make intermissions great again. Hashtag.
There you go. Make intermissions great again. All right. Speaking of intermissions, that's all my What You Doing for this week. I did a bunch of stuff this week, but we got something to review. So this week
is going to be the meat of our podcast, David.
Too easy. Too easy.
David,
I got it.
We're reviewing Sausage Party.